Hey everybody, welcome back. Just getting set up here, launching Rider. Just updated to 2020.1. That just came out, I think it came out Thursday or Friday. Um, Also been playing with my setup a little bit, so my video's not as invasive, so I hope that helps a little bit. If I'm too small or whatever, let me know. I can try and muck around with that. Probably not during the today's stream, but later on. Um, okay, so what are we doing today? So today it's back into our Prism deep link enhancement. Um, I had the I had the or I was available yesterday when James Montemagno was streaming and saw him working on his Animal Crossing app, and he was working on some very relevant pieces. Let's see. This project here, is this the one we want? I feel like Prism didn't hold on to my history very well, or it's not Prism. Um, Rider. Yeah, it's funny. Okay, so that's our first bump. Let's just open this. We're working with my fork of Prism, and yeah, we just work on the Prism library. So this should have my test projects in here. Hey, John, how's it going? Morning to you because you're in. I saw you followed me on Twitter. You're in San Diego, correct? Guess it's just barely morning. It's not morning for me. It's early afternoon, mid-afternoon, and it's beer time. This is really my excuse to hide in the office and have a couple beers while nerding out. It's a pretty good excuse. This is um, this is called Life's a Beach Hazy IPA, but um, wife and I found that it's not that hazy. Like you can see completely through it. So I don't know if they meant to make it hazy and let it settle too much or what. It's like it's slightly hazy, but not really. And for some reason, the camera, I guess it's just the lighting. It seems way darker. The beer always seems way darker. Like I guess if I hold it a little further away, a little more color goes through. Anyways, cheers everybody. It's definitely tasty. 7%. Okay, this should be an interesting stream. Okay. All right. Okay, so we got what we needed loaded in our IDE. And I just want to review. I made really shoddy notes last time. I don't know why I didn't make better notes last time. Um, Dan called in at the end and was like, yeah, this is the piece that was important. So Dan said that he talked to Brian, they actually want to change the behavior. Ah, mimosa. Cheers, John. Yeah, nice morning beverage. Um, Dan mentioned he wanted to, Dan and Brian had agreed that the behavior is going to change. So current state is it's supposed to launch a modal. If you try and navigate to a tab and then you tack on another slash and another page, it's supposed to navigate to that tab and then launch the page as a modal. Now, talked to Dan Tuesday. They want to change that behavior, change it so now it follows the flow that I'm trying to build. where it launches, it navigates you within that tab. So basically this flow here. So previously, yeah, this is a little, so hold on, I need to edit this. Going back in time here, edit our notes from last session. So the idea here is, and this is with create tab, this isn't exactly what we want. So I was trying to demonstrate to Dan, and he called me at the time where I was putting this together. So it's really, we don't even have to, if you're using select tab, you don't have to mention navigation page. That's implicitly handled by Prism. It will look at the current page for the navigation page. So if you want to navigate to a selected tab and that tab happens to be a navigation page that wraps another view, you can just navigate directly to that view. So let's say, what do we actually have here? Navigation page, view B, selected tab, view B. Okay. So let's make this look exactly the same. We might end up changing some of this. Okay, so if it's like this, it's pretty simple URI. If we use this, currently this gets launched as a modal, but now we want to push view E or view C, I guess is what we're calling it up above. We want to push that onto the navigation stack. So we'll check to see if view B is housed by a navigation page, and then we will push a new page onto the stack. Cool, and that's exactly what this says here. I think if the select tab is a navigation page, any subsequent pages requested in the URI will be pushed to the existing stack within the selected tab. Cool. Yeah, that's what we want. It's not very often that, like I know in the apps that I build, modals don't come up all that frequent, really. Like really you don't want to trap the user in a flow unless you're trying to, like unless you're trying to make it like a focused experience. Like I think a good parallel would be how when you navigate to your cart in, okay, so that looks a little better. When you navigate to your cart when you're in Amazon and start the checkout process, it strips away like all your nav. You're not shopping anymore, you're in cart mode. And yeah, so it's not very often where I end up putting up a modal. I usually want the tabs available so the users can easily get around the app. Okay, so let's kind of just let's do a quick check. So I haven't looked at my changes at all for a while. We've been working on this for a bunch of sessions. So okay, let's start with looking at our tests. So that's where we did most of our work last time in this page navigation service fixture. So this page navigation service fixture is what the hell is this here? Configure highlighting level. This is new rider features. What is this? Hints. Highlight. Okay, so, okay, cool. Oh, it's just not styled. So I'm using, so it's interesting. I went back and installed a theme for Rider to make the text a little brighter. So inspired by Kim Philpotts. Kim's code is really bright and easy to use, easy to read. And I often will watch Twitch streams from my treadmill and have my iPad in front of me. And it's really easy to see. Both James Montemagno and Kim Philpotts have very good Twitch streams, and they're very well set up. And their content is very easy to see because it's bright and big. So I'm going for that. So let me know if you like it or not. But anyways, this is clearly a new part of the theme. I don't know how to get rid of this. Move to status bar, and then what happens with this? What if I close this window again? I can just navigate back to it. Yeah. Oh, well, okay. That's not styled yet. All right. Onward and upward here. So we added we changed some tests around here, so I'm actually going to look at the diff for this. So git compare with same repository version. So this gives us the diff. Let's go down here. So the first one, I'm skipping this test. This is the test that I've added and that I'm currently working on. So this is the test that defines our new scenario of trying to push a new page onto the tab navigation stack, onto the navigation stack of the selected tab, rather than launching that new page as a modal. And then I've renamed this this next test because this next test is now going to be modal explicitly. So we've just added modal content page. But you know what? It's kind of buried here. Thanks, John. PRK, hey? Interesting. We'll have to chat about that a little bit because I don't know if you've noticed, but these are a little strong. And one point I was looking at surgery options. I didn't pull the trigger because I thought it was too risky. I would have to have my eyes are so bad I need multiple surgeries to actually get them to 2020. Okay, so I'm going to actually add a suffix here. Instead of having this kind of buried in to content page, I'm going to tack modal on the end. Make it easier to read, and really, this is kind of a little lazier too, because then I can go and rename all the subsequent tests that are using modal. Oh, you know what? I already did it. Shit. Okay, well, let's make that change right now. I'm going to get out of diff mode because I think that's all we really changed in here. We changed a little bit in the page mocks as well. Yes, thanks. That is a cool feature of Rider, though. You can share your configuration files, your project configurations as part of your source control. So it kind of ends up working a little bit like editor config. It does way more though. You know what I should have taken note of is the line number there that we were dealing with. That's fine though. Let's go to structure. So the structure view in Rider kind of gives you the same, it gives you the same view as odds are in your favor. So John's talking about his eye surgery. The odds are in your favor, but didn't work out so great for me. Your mileage may vary. Yeah. Sorry it didn't work out for you. I feel like my vision is too hard to correct because it's too extreme. So I kind of looked at the risks and went, you know what? I'm comfortable wearing glasses. I'm a nerd. I write software for a living. Like, whatever. Oh yeah, this is divided into regions, and it shows the regions pretty nice here. So let's go find our modal stuff, and let's start swapping those names around quickly. So to modal content page. Oh, come back. Okay, so that's our first thing. Let's quickly rename these tests. Um, I wonder. I wonder. Modal in current file. Here we go. Oh, no, modal stack. Shit. I think it was two modal. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Now instead of screwing around, I can just take care of this quickly. These are the things that cost you time that you don't really think of. I don't know when this came across my mind to rename this. I think it was as I was thinking about the stream a couple hours ago. It's funny how your brain kind of revs up when you're working on this kind of thing. You think about it even when you're not working on it. Okay. I think I am going to turn off key promoter quickly. It tends to be a little bit invasive when you've got low real estate. So Key Promoter X is a Prism plugin I use, or Prism, Jesus. It's a Rider plugin that I use that it basically will tell you when something you're doing with a keyboard, with the mouse can be done with a keyboard shortcut. So it makes it nice to learn keyboard shortcuts. Okay. Okay, so the one that we're working on is this one that we're skipping here. So this is our scenario that we just went over in Markdown there. So after talking to Dan, so I had this weird pipe here, and Dan said, no, like you want to make it like this, whoops, with the slash. So then if our content page is a navigation page, which I think it is, that's what we need to go take a look at. I am going to skip this song. Okay. So let's look at our page mocks, because our page mocks are really going to determine how this is really going to piece together. It's so awkward to me. I do have to restart the IDE to get this thing to shut up. Well, let's do it. I don't have quick launch actions here. One thing that Rider could add. Thankfully, it's somewhat fast. I feel like it used to be faster. Either way, it's pretty good. Is the music playing right now? I don't think it is it? Just give me a sec here. This is some of the learning curve stuff when it comes to streaming in general. Yeah. Here we go. There's the music.
Bands are so disappointing.
Okay, just give me 1 second here. Hey, Glenn! Depeche says no music. How you doing, Glenn? Okay, so now we know this is going to, if content page is a navigation page, then the framework, the navigation service should push the second content page onto the navigation stack. So let's look at our mocks. I don't know why I'm navigating this way. It's probably not the good way to do, the best way to do this. Let's go here instead. Whoops. Okay, so content page. This is just using it's using the registered content page. So I actually feel like I don't like these names that much. It doesn't make it very clear. I'm having to go back, jump back and forth a lot between what's registered and what isn't. So some of these pages, so content page maps to content page mock, content page 1. Okay, so that's okay because it's really within our tab page mock. Sorry. So I'm just going to navigate back to our test. Okay, so our test, where is our test? Here. Here's our test. So our test is Our test is loading the navigation or the tab page. The tab page already has pages set up in it. So it has 3 tabs or 5 tabs in it. So there's 5 tabs set up within this tab page, and we're going to select the content page. So whichever page corresponds to that. So if we look at the tab page mock, we have, yeah, perfect. So we have 5 tabs here. So 5 children equals 5 tabs. Tab 1 mock, tab 2, tab 3. Then we have a navigation page which wraps content page, and navigation page that wraps a just generic page. Cool, so we'll be selecting this content page mock because that's what's registered to content page with the navigation service. So the navigation service understands that if you say tab page, select a tab, content page, it's going to select this tab here. So this page 4 is what it's going to be called on the actual tabs. We don't see that, it's mocked because it's a unit test. So anyways, we're going to select that page and then we're going to push second content page onto the stack. So that's really what we're trying to do. So let's make this test fail. I'm going to run this test and, well, let's read the rest of it quickly. So tab page. So we're going to make sure that it loads and that it has a current page. We're going to try and use pattern matching to see if it's, or a soft cast to see if it's a navigation page. We're going to check to make sure it's not null and make sure it's a content page. So that gets us part of the way there. And let's actually put a breakpoint here and debug this. Let's see what comes through here. Hope everybody's surviving, being locked in. I published a little poll on Twitter. Just curious if people are out of work. Looks like the majority of people in tech anyways are not, which is good. I've seen my work fall a little bit. Down to like 40%, but that's fine. I was working way too many hours anyways. Okay, this test failed. Why did it fail? This theme needs a little bit of work. I'm almost at the point where I want to build my own theme. That's what I ended up doing for, I've been working with Windows a lot lately, doing some work with Power Apps and Dynamics, which I do not necessarily recommend. And yeah, so I've been living in Windows. So I set up my terminal nicely and started working with new Windows terminal. But I found that the color schemes and themes were not great for it out there. There's a couple by the community, they're okay, but need some tweaking. So I ended up kind of taking an existing and taking an existing theme and working on it and making it my own a little bit. Okay, so we've got our root page here, but it doesn't, it's kind of funny. The modal stack. Interesting, because we come from a content page. It should be pushing a tabbed page, our tabbed page, onto the stack. So Glenn has linked me to a themer. I'm gonna load this up. Themer. Set of colors and generates themes for your apps. That's cool. Editor, terminal. This is very cool. Thanks for that, Glenn. I'll share back. I'm gonna dig up a URL. Bear with me for a second. Yes. Just give me 1 sec. I'm going to bring this link over. So on the same side, I found stylish themes. I'll actually show you where I have it applied. So this is using a different, that browser session is using my Toronto mobile developers accounts, so it doesn't have it applied, but this is GitHub with the GitHub Dark theme from Stylish Themes applied. There's all kinds of different sites you can apply to, so there's Wikipedia and Discourse and all kinds of stuff. It's really nice, really interesting. Lots of cool tools. Yeah, so I went through the exercise of kind of making my, I'm going to save this. Let's set up some stream notes for today. Stream notes 2020. What is it? April 18th. Whoops. Oh, that's kind of what I want anyways. So used to using end in the browser, it doesn't really work that well. Okay, so stylish themes, themer. Just gonna dump those in for now, figure out what to do with them. Probably tweet those out. Thanks for that, Glenn. Appreciate that. I'll be checking that out later. Okay, so back into our code. So this should have pushed a content page on, which it did. So we got our content page because our root page is a content page. But then it doesn't look like it pushed the, it's supposed to push the tab page as a modal over top of our content page. But you know what, like, I'm not as experienced with this flow. So I want to take a look. I want to do this as an absolute. So I basically want to do this. As soon as you start your navigation path with a slash like that, it tells Prism that you actually want to replace main page. So that means if you started with a content page, it's going to remove it, and your root page is going to be tabbed page from that point. So what I'm going to do, I want to quickly look for an example. I know this is jumping around a lot, but trying to find my flow in here, and I don't really have it yet. Also, only working 2 hours 2 times a week on this is it's actually making it harder, which is interesting. I'm trying not to do any work on this outside of the stream, and it does make it a little more difficult. Okay, to empty master detail, from master detail. So these are the deep navigate methods. We'll get to those later. Navigate, deep navigate. Oh, those are deep navigate from master detail. Right, it works with that, but it doesn't work with tabbed. From content page, yeah, I don't think, it's kind of interesting. It doesn't look like there's a scenario where we reset the stack. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick look. I'm just going to search in these tests here. I really want to find one that starts with a slash. So let's actually just look for this. See if there's anything in here. And it's just within this file. Three references to that. One in mine, so there's two, potentially two other tests. Navigate to content page by absolute name. Huh. Interesting. By absolute name. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much I love this. It's funny. So, one of the things I know that most of us try and do when we enter a project that we don't own and that we haven't been a part of since day one is try and follow convention. It's already been laid out. So, I don't love this, but we're going to follow it anyways. Okay, let's get some of my real estate back here. To content page by absolute name. Sure. Okay, so I'm going to stop this. I'm going to rerun it. This should be a little bit different too. We're going to actually have to change our assert statements. Because now our root page is going to be our tab page. Or not. This is where I start getting confused. More confused. Yeah, this is strange because we call that navigate async. Lead it with a slash, tell it to bring us to navigation page. I know for a fact that if you do this in an actual app, your root page is it's whatever you reference. Okay, so what that means to me, we gotta walk through here. Let's do it. So I just dragged my pointer up here. And since I'm on a Mac with a touch bar, my keys are not necessarily going to do what I want them to. F11 is going to, yeah, stupid expose. I have to look at that. So I'm going to make a note of that right now. This is something that I've been procrastinating on. Action items. Let's do this. So share out styling. Theme links. Credit to the Petchy. Figure out F11 step into mapping Mac OS TM. Currently mapped to system, I think it's called expose. All right, because that's been annoying me for a while. I don't know why I haven't gotten to that. It's one of those things. Okay. Let's step into that. I don't want to use smart. So Writer has this concept of smart step into. It's hit and miss. So I like to just use our step into. This is the other thing that Rider will give you the ability to do is you can actually step into the task because navigate async, because it's an async method returning a task, returns a task, you can step into the get awaiter. But no, we're going to step into the method here. Mission control. Yeah. John says it's called mission control, not expose. Call me an old man, John. Probably pretty accurate if you are. Okay. Let's just follow this through. So we've been through this a bunch. So we're basically getting to, these are just all the overloads until you hit some of these navigate internals. So this is just, oh no. I thought I stepped over. Oh, I stepped into. Come on, Dylan, get it together, man. All right. This is the, I don't want to parse. I do not care to parse. This navigate internal is the method we're trying to get to here. If I can learn how to debug. Okay, so we've got our, we're gonna get our navigation result. So this is first, here's my hack. I can remove this, but so here's the URI that comes in. It's it stubs in localhost, like it wants to make it an actual complete URI if you don't give it a scheme and a host. So Prism just adds in HTTP localhost. So we're basically saying like, hey, reset the whole thing. So it should be, this is called absolute, this is an absolute URL or absolute URI, and this invokes Prism's absolute URI navigation. So, Glenn, this is a beer from a local brewery called Life's a Beach. It's a hazy IPA. Brewery's called Sauter Street. If you ever come to Toronto, we can go check out some of these breweries. There's quite a few near my house. I think within a 20-minute walking radius, or if you even expand that out to 30-minute, I've got like, there's like 10 breweries. So you can hit most of them. If I walk from my house down to this area called Riverside, I think from here to there, I can hit 6 breweries. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably actually closer to 7, or I think there's an 8th one in there now too. There's lots. It's great. So on a summer day, I'll strike out from my house and go brewery hopping, which is a really fun thing to do on a really sunny, hot sunny afternoon. Okay, back into our debugging. So this is breaking up the URI into navigation segments. Now here we go. Excuse me. Is absolute URI true? Okay, so that's what we want. Now we're going to process the navigation. So we're not hitting the else branch. We're probably good on all this. Cool. So yeah, we're going to step into this one. Process navigation for absolute URI. And we're going to go with the first one. So we're processing navigation. Any method calls there, so I can just step in. Good. Into process navigation. So segments. So from this point forward, so after we go into that first navigate internal method, the URI is then broken into segments, and that's what's passed around. It's a queue of segments, which are just pieces, they're strings, which are pieces of the URI. So as we navigate to each segment, they're dequeued off the queue. Sometimes I'm explaining this for people who are watching it. Sometimes it's for my own benefit. Either way, it works. This is one of those things where I have to continuously remind myself like how this is working. This page navigation service has a lot going on. So building a strong mental model around it is really going to help me get the work done that I want to. So segments count. So we have 2 segments. Let's actually take a look at both those segments. Okay, so our first segment is our tab page, select a tab content page. So this is where we should be going, and doesn't seem to be necessarily working like that. And our second is the second content page. So that's pretty much what we expect. Now let's just step over a bunch of this stuff. So we pretty much know how most of this stuff works. Page parameters should be just our selected. Yep. Select a tab. Looking for the modal navigation parameter, which we're not using. And that's actually what Dan has said for the breaking change on behavior. So if you want to explicitly launch a modal tab now, you have to say use modal navigation. Next segment is not remove page segment. So we know we won't hit that one. Current page equals null. So our current page is null. This is interesting. So I don't think I've gone through this branch of the navigation service. I think I've always landed in this one. Or maybe this one? I don't know. Let's just walk through this either way. Okay, so process navigation for root page. What is this doing here? Create page for segment, from segment. So this segment is, of course, our tab page. The selected tab. Okay. So process navigation. This, I believe, calls our Prism specific methods based on the pattern matching to the interfaces that Prism expects. Let's jump into there. So segments, we still have 1 segment left to process. This is kind of interesting too. I'm a little lost. So we're already working on that second navigation segment. I'm a little confused here. Current page. Oh, okay. So never mind. That last step did add the tab page. I just missed that somehow? I don't know. Okay, so now this is a tab page. So our current page is tab page. So pattern matching means we're going to end up in this branch. Let's go in there. Check all our conditions so we know it matches the tab page. So let's process that navigation. Cool. Create page from segment. So this should be creating our second content page. That's our next segment. Cool. So we created a page from... Wait a minute here. Page navigation. Do navigation action. And this has our action. To push the page onto the stack. so far, let's just keep going on this. So do navigation action. Seems like it's unwinding the stack. So Glenn's asking, should your test not be navigation page slash instead of slash dot dot instead of your clear stack navigation to end again with a nav page? Sorry, slash navigation page. Well, not really. So the way we want this to work, and Glenn, I'll give you a little run through of where we're at. So it's a little hard because this is like a continuation of the work I've been doing. Let me load up Visor here. Okay, so this is my sample app. I really wish this thing would remember my settings. Okay, so here's the basics. Here's the problem we're trying to solve. We have this page, this really simple app. It's the Xamarin.Forms template. And what we want to do with this is we want to deep link into one of these items. So into first item, for our example, or second item, I think is what I've been using. So we can do that in a couple different ways. But Prism doesn't really handle it. So I had built, in a previous app, I had built something to handle it for us. And I went, you know, it would be really great to have this available out of the box. So essentially what you want to do, I've got some test deep links here. And this doesn't work right now because I've disabled the workaround, and that's why I'm trying to build it into the framework, right? So essentially you don't need a navigation page to start. You want a navigation page within your tab. So your root page is a tab page within each one of those pages, depending on what you're doing. So within our browse page, within our browse tab, we want to have a navigation page. So it goes tab page, navigation page. Navigation page wraps this list page, this item list page. And then on the other tab, it's just the about page because we're not doing any navigation there. So as soon as one of these tabs has a navigation page within it, you get the navigation bar and everything like that. And you have your navigation flow. So if you actually look at this app, structure, so we have our main page. So our main page has two tabs. Navigation page, actually, sorry, these both are navigation pages. A navigation page wrapping our items page, and we're calling it browse, and a navigation page wrapping our about page. So that's where the navigation page fits in. It's one after the tab page, which is our main page in this case, which is naming stuff we have to try and straighten out. So it's actually slash tab page, but when we're using the navigation service, we don't have to tell it it's a navigation page because it inspects the page to see if it's a navigation page, and if it is, it checks the current page to see if that matches, if that makes any sense. I can show you that code. It might actually make more sense to show you how it works in code. So I go to structure, one magic method in here I can never freaking find. Half the battle with this is a large enough code base, and I'm unfamiliar enough that trying to get around is tricky. Okay, so tab page, select the tab. So what this does here, then I actually just cleaned this up last session, but it checks your tab page children. It iterates through each one of them and checks the type of them. So if you're looking for, if you're trying to select a tab, it's actually looking at the type of that page and comparing it to the type of the child that's nested within that tab page. So it's basically looking at the type of your page that you've asked for. So if you've asked for that browse page, for example, that browse page, it'll look at the type it's registered to in the navigation service, and then check that type against the type that's actually coming from the physical tab page. And if it's a navigation page, it's looking at the current page and the root page. So it allows us to kind of ignore navigation pages, which is cool. Not ignore them, but you know, we don't have to consider that as part of our navigation path. Okay, where were we here? So we're here, back in our unit test. And what do we have? Yeah, see, it's funny. Oh, ha! I see what's going on here. So, yeah, this is explicitly set above here that the root page is going to be a content page. So it's almost like that absolute navigation isn't considered in this. Well, it's not almost as if absolute navigation isn't considered in this flow at all. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, kind of interested. So if we just create a root page, how's our navigation service supposed to know about it? We don't give it to the mock or anything. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to take a quick look. Again, this is my unfamiliarity with how this is all working. There were some of those by absolute URL, by absolute URI. Why am I here? Time to close a bunch of stuff. Okay, so by absolute name. Okay, navigate to content page by absolute URI. So, set up top page. Yeah, this works a little bit differently. So, page navigation event recorder, I have no idea what that is. Must be some way of interesting, checking to see actually what's happened. It's almost like our if you're using mock-queue, you can check how many times a method has been executed or accessed and all kinds of good stuff. So we actually have a bit of a black box / action log here. Content page mock is the root page. Gets a binding context, or has a binding context. If we do anything with that. Doesn't really look like it. Odd. Oh, down here. Okay, so it looks like there's a couple of different styles of doing this test. Which is interesting. But this root page is explicitly added to the application provider mock. All right, I'm ready to abandon this thread and go back to relative URI just to get through this, because I'm not exactly sure. Like, I see how this works now, and I see I'm gonna have to borrow from this a little bit. Like, I'm actually gonna have to grab some of this and use it in my test. So let's do that. Where is my test? Let's stop this. So the problem we are having, so really what I was missing is the test didn't really seem to be set up for what we were trying to do. So I'm going to paste this in here. So now our page navigation service has an application provider which has a root page setup. But I saw, I need to take a look at, well, let's go back here. This is I want to see where this is used and how it's used. I also need to take a quick second to see if there's anything going on YouTube. I don't want YouTube to be too neglected. Okay. They can remain neglected. I'll just set that over here, so if somebody does ask a question or something in YouTube. I've been actually advertising one stream link and broadcasting to another one. I just realized that. But whatever. Okay, so let's see where this is set up. So just want to look at right axis only. Oh, so it's initialized. It's initialized in the constructor and then not touched again, really. And it's not given a page. So I don't know how that would really work. Let's take a look at some of those other read usages. Here's my find. It's very minimized. Application provider.main page. So we're passing it into the page navigation service and expecting the page navigation service to give it the root page. That's the whole problem. Yeah, we need to look at application provider.main page, not root page. So I was trying to solve, I'm glad I looked at that. I was trying to solve the wrong problem. Now let's go back. Here we go. Okay, so I don't need this. Because I don't need to redeclare this and then use a different instance. I don't need to look at the root page view model. I can just set up root page to be a content page. Whoa, this is a little too much. A little too hardcore for my mood. Okay, so I can actually say underscore application provider dot main page equals root page. So now By way of application provider, our page navigation service knows about a root page, so it can navigate us. And now we can actually assert that it has what we want in it. Cool, I think we should get better results now. Man, that was a bit of a struggle, wasn't it? All good though, all learning. We are 1 hour in and we have accomplished very little. Cheers to that. Gained a lot of understanding on how these tests are working, which is good, because they are tricky. Okay, so let's see what happens when we get to the next line here. Okay, so root page. Oh, okay, so this is progress. It's now our content page mock. So I don't think that's exactly what we want. I still don't understand what the hell is going on here. Because really, like, we know our navigation service. Okay, so I need to understand the page navigation service mock. So, it's got a base. Oh, the base is page navigation service. I can live with that. Okay, application provider mock. Okay, so the only thing it's really overriding is create page. So application provider is the key, which I haven't actually looked at this before. Wait a minute. Navigation service. Yeah, let's see how this application provider is used. Let's actually take a look at what this application provider is. Okay, it's just the main page. Okay. So main page, application provider dot main page is what this should be looking at when it's adding, removing pages, manipulating that main page. Maybe that's why that absolute navigation is using like a recorder, because like really you have to call app.mainPage and set it to a new value in real life to actually reset your stack, which would be very difficult to do in the context of what I see mocked out here for the page navigation service. Okay, so tells me some things. So okay, I'm going back on this again. We're gonna, I'm undoing the absolute. We are not going to use absolute for now because it appears to be a can of worms. So instead of that, let's run that with a relative URI and see what comes back from our navigate action. Really hope we get some positive progress here. All I want is this page to be read, this test to be read for the wrong reason, or for the correct reason, not the wrong reason. Because right now it's red, but it's red because our results are not good. So content page mock, navigation. There's nothing in our modal stack, but there should be. This is okay. So this is essentially a similar thing. Let's see how Brian's, like, what comes out of the other end of this. Maybe we'll start from a little simpler spot. just gonna break on about the same spot. I think this is the test I copied. Okay, so root page. It's our content page. Of course, that wouldn't change because nothing has reference to this. This is where things kind of get really interesting to me, like from my perspective. Anyways, so navigation proxy, that modal stack has a page in it. So, okay, I need to think about this for a minute. So in our test, when we look at what's in the modal stack after navigating, we have nothing. There's 0 pages in that modal stack. The only difference is the navigation URL has another slash in it. So I'm actually wondering if we're looking at something like because it's got that other absolute portion to it, that it's actually broken and should be failing that way. So maybe it is failing for the right reason. Because I know if you run that scenario, yeah, I think I have something like that we can actually look at right now. A real in-app or real page, real link that works like that. So these, let me make this a little bit bigger. It's pretty small. Wish it would resize just to the there. Okay, so this is all right. But this doesn't give us status, a status bar. So I think I've got that here. So we've got a bunch of deep links here. So we have right. So this is very similar. So this is, I don't know how to do a screen zoom. There's things that the pros can do very well that I can't. So we've got TorontoMobileDevs.com that's registered in our app to handle, our app's registered to handle that. / main page, that's our tab page. Selected tab items page, cool. So that's one of our tabs. / item details page, and then we've got an ID, which ends up being inconsequential. But I know that this does not work, and that's the whole root of why I'm doing this. So if I click on item 2 here and actually follow this link, yeah, it immediately crashes the app. So it crashes the app because I think what's happening is Prism is taking that / in the middle of the URL, and it's trying to, what is it trying to do? Because we walked through this a little bit, and it kind of looked, the code or the flow for the code didn't look, it wasn't doing exactly what I thought it would. Huh. Let's flip back over. Oops, I don't want to run that again. I just want to continue. Okay, so in our test, the only difference from our test and Brian's test, like we changed this around, but this shouldn't really matter. I still don't understand how there must be some forms internals when you declare this page. This is the confusing thing to me. Oh no, okay, so it's iPage where the navigation service page gets the root page. So this is the connection. Why? I don't know why I missed that. So we're just going to revert to this simple way of doing things. We don't need any of this jazz. Okay. So if we run it without slash, it is failing for the right reason. Oh man, took a while to get there. So it's failing for the right reason. So it's because it's the way it's handling this is not correct, which is the whole reason why we're here. It only took an hour to get there. No big deal. More beer. Okay, so I want to run to that point again. And we'll see what's in there. So root page, content page. Just the vanilla content page. I'm curious. Wondering what it's doing with that second segment. Let's walk through this again. Ugh. Okay, but this time we're going to do it a little bit differently. Instead of going the long route, I know where things start getting a little funny. That is navigate internal. I think it's this one. Nope, wrong guess. Here we go. Okay, so navigate internal. I'm gonna do some cleanup. So I mentioned before that I added this ugly static in here, but that's not necessary because last session I cleaned that up and I'm actually just using that queue of pages, the segments. So kill this. Okay, navigate internal. Get the segments. You know it's absolute. Process navigation. So we're not using absolute URL. So let's look at this first. I'm really curious to see what current page looks like when we run our test. Okay, just run through this again. Huh. Oh, huh. I changed the code. Apparently broke something. Normally this is very helpful. Here it is. So we changed this last time. So tab page, selected tab actually gets the segment that we're looking at. So we don't need to do any processing of the URL like we were previously. So get rid of this and of really all this. There were to do there. Okay, so a little bit of cleanup. Let's run this again. Okay, so we're going to, where did my breakpoint go? I thought I just set it. That's fine. Oh, there we go. Good. Okay, so we're going to watch this navigate happen, but we're kind of going to do it selectively. So I put a breakpoint in the page navigation service, so I think I can just run it up to that point. Yeah, okay. So process navigation, we want to look at, so this is like a little further down the stack. This is after we've determined what kind of URI it is. And we should have a current page here. So that's our content page, which is set back in, oh, interesting. Oh yeah, our root page. Yeah, so that's our content page. Close this. Okay, so that's what's coming in. We get our next segment. So segment is our parsed URI parts for our deep navigation. Let's see, sorry, what is our next segment going to be in here? Got our two segments. Our next segment is just going to be navigating to our tab page. I'm trying to keep an eye on YouTube at the same time. Bear with me. Okay. Okay, so our segment, tab page, selected tab, content page, which is cool. This is exactly what we want to do. So this first part is just going to go great. So we'll get down to here. We'll see that's a tab page, and then we'll process the navigation for tab page. Now what I'm thinking is I'm going to let this run. So I'm going to just show that it's hitting here. It'll create that page. And then the next time we come through here, the current page is going to be set to that tab page. So, okay, let's hit this breakpoint. Hold on. Okay, so that's a little bit of a curveball. So we're actually coming back into this process navigation method. What's our current page now? Ah, so it's recursively called somewhere deeper down the stack, because now we already have the tab page mock as our current page. So that means our tabs are up, our tab is selected, and we're ready to rock. So now what we need to do here, instead of, I think what this is doing is, actually I don't know what it's doing. That's the question. Let's figure out what it's doing. So we've got our tab page on the stack. That's phenomenal. Right, so what's happening now is our tab page is on the stack, so our current page is a tab page. So we're going to process navigation for tab page. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to process this. So I'm going to step into this now. Okay. Okay, so our next segment, this is our second content page. So create page from segment. Let's see what this is doing. Create page from segment. Segment name. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, nothing. It's the same as what came in. And now we're going to create a page. And let's see what that does. So we saw on our page navigation service mock that there was a create page method. Okay. So here we are. This is the mock create page. Now, here's where things are interesting. is this a problem with the way things are mocked? Let's try and figure that out. Okay, so it's getting in, so it's basically this container mock get instance is newing up a page based on our registered name. So we've registered a actual type, like an actual page, that matches second content page. I can show you that. It's in page navigation service fixture, way up at the top. I should have just navigated there. Second content page, mock. Is this our problem? Oh no. Huh. So it doesn't adhere to the naming convention. Is this the whole thing that's breaking? Okay, I'm stopping. Okay, so we're going to, this is really unfortunate. Current file. Types, this is all navigation to types. Okay, so every time we mention it in a string, I'm going to change it to second content page because that adheres to the convention. So we're making improvements to not just what we're doing, but we're helping the overall health and quality of the tests by making things more consistent, which is a very good thing. So here's another one. Okay, so I'm doing this like in a very foolish way because I can actually, because I'm using Rider, so plug for Rider because I really like Rider. I can modify things right in the find window without jumping around. Oh, I don't know about this song. I need ambient music. Like, I gotta find some better music. Gotta ask the pros what they use. So this is okay. It works. Hey, Lewis. How are you? Cheers. Okay, so I think we're in better shape with this this naming. Rename tests to follow a new test naming convention. Oh, oh, this hurts. In fact, the heckle signal. Lewis says he saw the heckle signal on Twitter and came to the rescue. No, you're supposed to come and heckle. Or rescue by just writing this code for me. That's what Dan did last time. Dan jumped in and ended up just copy pasting a bunch of code to me. Dan is one of the Prism maintainers, and he is much more familiar with Prism. What I'm going to do quickly is I'm going to go to the Prism code base in GitHub. If I can figure out how to use my computer. Prism library, Prism. Lewis, we are working on an enhancement for Prism so it'll handle deep links better. So this is a little bit inspired by the last app I shipped. The last app I shipped used deep links very heavily. And one of the things I found is that if you're using tab navigation, which most of us are these days, Prism won't take you to a deeper page than just the surface on the tab, if you know what I'm saying. So if you have a tab view with two tabs and you want to go to like a specific item on the list that's listed on the first tab, you can't do that using Prism out of the box. So we're enhancing it so we can. So here, I'll show you what we're really trying to do. So I have just a little quick so here, just throw this in my gist so it's easy to see. We've got this URL. It's going to navigating the main page. We're selecting a tab called Items Page. We're selecting the tab up alongside item page or vice versa, depending on how you look at it. And then from there, we want to go within the items page. We want to push another page in the stack onto that, into that selected tab called Item Detail Page and pass the ID parameter along so we can select a specific item, like an actual deep link to a specific item. Prism doesn't handle this part right now. So it'll get you this far, which is cool. But then the rest of this, you have to write custom code to handle. So I'd written some of that for my last app, but I want to make it generic and enhance the framework to the Prism library to actually deal with it. So what I was going to do here, I am going to talk to these guys about this specific content. Or specific comment. Rename tests. Get a permalink for that. So I'm going to talk to Dan and Brian about renaming tests. Cool. Lewis, are you using Prism in your apps? I know there's a bunch of blog articles from like Charlene and Randy on Prism deep linking and Prism in general. So I'm pretty sure they're using it. Yeah, nice. So everybody across Geeks. That's cool. Good, then this will benefit you for sure. So like we're trying to do this from a TDD perspective. I'm finding that the tests are at times hard to follow. A little bit of that is because there's just a lot of moving parts and there's a learning curve. But some of it is these comments. There's some comments in here that the tests need some work to begin with. So I'm going to try and do some of that while I'm in here. Try and do a little bit of cleanup. Okay. So here's my test. Here's what we're doing. So second content page. So now this is a registered page. So now we should get a little further. So the problem that I just fixed is second content page was registered to second content page. The actual name of the page class is second content page mock. The naming convention is not to use the mock suffix, but second content page was using the mock suffix, unbeknownst to me until I went and looked at that registration. So I'm going to just run this and we'll see what happens again. I'll debug it, see how it goes. So Lewis, I use Prism in all my apps. I can't remember the last build demos without Prism, but I pretty much use it everywhere. The really interesting thing, and it'd be interesting to see what the Prism team has to say on this, is that Shell has a lot of competing features. Running it. Okay, I'm just going to skip over all this. I don't want to see how the sausage is made. Okay, how are we doing here now? Content page, navigation page, modal stack, 0. So Glenn, we ran it again, and it's no good. Still no good. No bueno. More beer though. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if Shell and Prism, like I need to, so Shell, here's what I know about Shell. I know um, the only pieces I know about Shell are what I see from demos. Um, like I tried it in one app. So we've got an app in, so Daniel Causer and I put together, we put together just like a very simple, where is it? Here. This is our very simple app that we put together just to, I think this was when Xamarin, I don't know what version it was. It was a version that shipped a ton of features. It must have been version 3 hit. So Xamarin 3 hit, and we're like, okay, let's build an app that kind of we can use for the Canary releases. Tried Shell for a bit, not quite there yet. Yeah, compared to what you can do with Prism. So I tried to navigate this one, I think in this one. So I tried to navigate this branch to Prism, and I think it made my brain hurt. Or sorry, from Prism to Shell. Or I tried to use Shell and Prism without knowing that there was compatibility issues. No, I don't think it was this one, or it's in a branch that I've got local or something. Anyways, I tried to take a simple app and migrate it to Shell, and it didn't go very well. So I kind of went, well, if I'm trying to do this with a simple app, my mileage is going to be, I'm not going to get very good mileage if I try and do it with a complex app. So then I haven't touched it since. But it's kind of interesting. I saw James using it, James Montemagno using it on a stream yesterday for his Animal Crossing app, and it seems to be working for what he's using it for. And I don't know. I'm willing to give it a look again. I also know that Dan and Shane, Dan from the Prism team, and Shane from the Xamarin.Forms team, Shane owns Shell from what I understand, have been collaborating pretty consistently on trying to get the two to integrate and play nice together. So who knows? All I know is like I have relied on Prism pretty heavily for the past, I don't know, close to 5 years, and I've had very good results. So I don't know why I would change course at this time. Kind of one of those things. I'll definitely be wanting to experiment with Shell, but I don't know if I'd ship something with Shell at this point. It would require a lot more experimentation. Okay, so we still don't have the result we want here. Why? Let's run through again. Sure, like other people, I like the idea of these streams and the way people are streaming right now with the pandemic. You get exposed to a lot of different things. I should just let this run. I've got a breakpoint. Yeah, here we go. You get exposed to some things that you normally wouldn't because you're basically doing, it's kind of like paired programming, right? You can kind of watch what other people are doing and look over their shoulder and see how they're doing things, which is really cool to see. Because everybody works a little bit differently and has a different tool set, different knowledge base. So I think there's a lot you can learn from everyone who does this. Okay, let's see here. So we're creating a page from segment. I think this is where we left off last time when I realized that the page was registered wrong. Or not wrong, but not to my expectation. Segment name. So we get the segment name, we create the page. Step into that one. Okay, so now we're actually going to get an instance of a page. It's not going to throw a freaking exception here. Cool. So that's good. Page utilities, invoke view and view model action. This is for the recorder. Lewis says, that's what I like, and everyone has their little tips and tricks they do, and you can take advantage of that. Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool to see how other people work. I love paired programming. It's like, and right now I'm working in a, with my current job, I'm working in a vacuum a lot. So, Glenn, this is the first time you've seen Rider? Oh, man. Okay, so Glenn, um, this is the first time, or Rider just got hot reload. I haven't tried it yet. I tried it with the EAP, the early access preview, and it didn't work. But I use Rider like, before hot reload, I used Rider 95% of the time. Now I'm using it, it's like 50-50. Every time I do UI work, I jump to, you know what? So John and Glenn and Lewis, please reach out to me on Twitter. I have something for you on Rider. Please reach out to me. Just send me a DM. Send me a DM right now, just to remind me. I have some license keys. License keys that we aren't giving away because we're not hosting user group meetings. So if you'd like a Rider license key for 1 year, I have some. So please send me a DM to remind me. Otherwise, I won't remember. That's the. Actually, you know what? I can remember. I have stream notes. John, so Rider keys to John, Lewis, Glenn. Anybody else who's watching the stream who would like a Rider key or a JetBrains license? Is not necessarily for Rider. Use it for whatever software product they have. You can hit me up on Twitter at Dilbot9000. I will send you a key. I have some as part of the Toronto Mobile Devs user group, and we haven't met since January. So they're kind of building up. Excellent. Good. That's good. I like that. Yeah, I love Rider. I love it. I love it. I love it. So let's talk about Rider for a few minutes. I'm not making very good progress on this anyway. Let's take a minute or two. Well, actually, I'm going to finish up what I'm doing here and then remind me, guys. I want to show you some of the cool bits that I'm using in here. Okay, so our page is null. So that's not good. So that's the whole problem. So it's actually this container mock get instance. Let's take a look through this. So our key is second content page. Registered pages contains key. I bet you it doesn't contain our key, does it? Second content page mock. It's still registered wrong. Oh boy. Okay. Is that up in the constructor? Yes. Okay. Let's try it once more. Okay. So, yes, MVPs already have it. If you're an MVP, you can get a free Rider or a JetBrains product license. So that could be ReSharper if you're using Visual Studio for Windows, or it could be Rider for Windows. I've been kind of bragging about how what I've done with my Windows setup because I love it a lot. I've been using Rider for Windows plus Windows Terminal and Edge, and everything's themed and slick and cool. Um, it's nice. So it's kind of interesting. One of my plugins doesn't seem to be working or analyzing the way I expect it to. You know what? I think we have this test working, so I want to run it one more time, and then I'll talk about Rider a little bit. So I get 20 minutes left. So I try and cap these streams at 2 hours, so it doesn't, the problem with not time boxing stuff like this is the first time I did this without a time box, I was on here for like 4.5 hours. And I came out of my office and my wife was like, "What are you doing? I haven't seen you for half the day." Particularly right now when, there's not much else to do if you're stuck inside. Okay, so here we're gonna process our navigation again. Yeah, so my wife was lonely, bored. I don't blame her. I didn't really expect to go off for that long. Okay, so create page from segment. Good segment name, create page. Let's make sure this actually gets our page. We have a page. I'm letting this run. What is in here? Hey, success! Yes! Okay, so this deserves another beer. Sit tight, everybody. We got like, 20 minutes left. So I'm gonna go grab a beer. Be back in a flash. Just gotta run downstairs, and we'll get back to this. I'm back. Okay. Yeah, no Xamarin Summit, no. I know there was, Claudio was trying to do something else, and like Dan was trying to, yeah. Hopefully next year. We're gonna have our Xamarin Saturday. We're gonna try and do multi-city this year, and that kind of didn't help. Okay, so this time is this is Glorioso. It's an Italian style Pilsner, and it's from Left Field Brewery. This is another one near my home. All their beer is baseball themed. Their brewery is baseball themed, and they are awesome. All their beer is very good. They do very good sours, very good IPAs. This is their first like real lager that they've done, or one that I've made note of anyways. It's good. Pilsners in North America tend to be very lackluster, and this one is not. It's very good. There's a couple of people are starting to understand how to make good lagers. Yeah, Lewis, we should probably put something together, eh? I mean, the .NET conference focused on Xamarin was pretty good. We could do something like that again, but community driven. Just do Streamfest. You know, I like. You know what I love about streaming? I can just hop on here, no prep, um, and do some fun hacking around, talk to people, and it's like pretty low commitment, and it's a lot more fun. I find it's like I don't get anxious about it. There's no expectations. It's just kind of come on here, talk to whoever joins. It's really fun. Work on some code. It's good. Okay. Speaking of working on code, we now have, I think we have a successful unit test, or not a failing unit test anyways. Let's see. So our nav page, current page, content page mock. Okay, so that's what we wanted, really. Yeah, you should. You should stream 100%. It doesn't take much, really. You just have to kind of be careful. Happy to give out some tips and tricks here and there, like Streamlabs, or Streamlabs is nice instead of just using OBS. I use Restream.io so I can multicast to Twitch and YouTube. Screen resolution, keep it like really, really low DPI. Have a decent webcam. Have decent audio. I think my audio is okay. Does it sound decent to you guys? Because I hear some people and it sounds like they're recording, I don't know, through a microphone manufactured in 1950. And then other people, it sounds really, really good. I look to Kim Philpotts, seems to be the person I turn to like try and really learn from the way he's doing things. His stream is so slick. Like, so I've themed my browser so it's not, or not my browser, my IDE, so it's really like easy to read, and you can like kind of view it from your phone or a tablet and still get a pretty decent experience. Music is high. Okay, thank you, Glenn. I will take that down a little bit. Yeah, Kim casts really good stuff too. So, I mean, content is a big part of it too. I've been like absolutely laser focused on getting this Prism work done, and I think this is kind of keeping me accountable for what I've committed to. I really, really want to make a contribution. My my thought is that I've used Prism to ship apps for 5 years, and I really want to contribute back to it. Like, it just makes sense, right? So I've got a little bit of flex in my schedule right now, and might as well make use of that time to do something constructive and give back to the community. Okay. So we have a passing unit test, but it doesn't pass for the right reasons, unfortunately. So I want to take a look at our current page, at this nav page a little more. So I'm actually just going to, let's look at our breakpoints. Remove, look at what comes in on this nav page. Here we go. Okay, so this nav page. So really, this is the whole thing, right? So this should fail. Like this assert statement is not really what we want. This is actually the problem, because our current page of the nav page should be our secondary page, second content page. This is really what we're looking for here. So let's do that. Red green refactor is what I'm going for. I'm trying to do this as TDD as possible. I don't use TDD that often, but it's really good on something like this where I'm really trying not to mess up the existing code base. Okay. So, how do we do this now? That's the question. Let's see if we can really quickly. I'll probably stand here for an extra 10 minutes. So we get 20 minutes. And we get some really epic music going on. So with this epic music, we're going to use this to propel us. To get that new page in there. So here's what I want to do. We had that breakpoint. We had a breakpoint when we were pattern matching for tab page. So let's see, configure pages, select page tab, check for the parent, which is main page. Here we go, process navigation for tab page. So we know here, when we come through here, we've got the tab page set. So now we want to push another page onto the navigation page stack. So let's run that unit test. Get back to that point and start tacking some stuff on in the right spot. The other thing about Kim Philpott's stream, it's polished, it's nice. Like I've looked at a lot of the stuff he's doing and been trying to replicate it. But he does a lot of UI work, which is highly visual, which I really like. And but I don't have a need right now to build any UI. Building backend, it's a lot different. I think the viewer experience is a lot different. Okay, so let's step into this one. Process navigation for tab page. Okay, so we're going to create a page from segment, which is going to create our next page. So this is our second page mock, which is awesome. So now we're going into process navigation again. This is where things get interesting. Okay, let's see. Process navigation. So our segment count is 0. So we come right back out of this. So this is what we want. We want this do navigate action with this do push. So do navigate action. Okay, this is calling the this is looking at the navigation or at the binding context of the current page and calling doing the pattern matching to see if we need to call the Prism specific methods. So the initialize methods, the navigate from, navigated from, navigated to. So that's not really what I want there. I want do push. This is the one that's going to do what we expect. So let's run to that point. Okay, so our page is our second content page mock. So current page is our tab page mock. So it's really here. So yeah, here we go. This is where it goes. Okay, so let's mock this out or stub this out. So what it's doing right now, first it's checking to use modal. So we're not using modal. So it's trying to push it right on top of the tab page. If we're not tab page. Insert before last. What is this? Where is this coming from? Is this a parameter? Yeah, it defaults to false, so we don't have to really worry about that. So it's in here. This is totally it. This is where it's going. If page, or hold on, current page is tab page. And we'll call this actually tab page, and tab page dot, what is it called? Current page is navigation page. This is the money right here. This is what I've been waiting to get to, is this spot right here. And the music is really good for it right now, so I'm very happy. So if it's a navigation page within the tab page, actually shit, I can't test it that easily. So this breakpoint is not going to be accurate, but it's fine. Let's run up to it. Ah. So current page. Yeah, I broke it. Okay, we'll have to run this again in a second. Caps lock, animated. So I think this is returning a task. Yeah, so we can just return this one as well. Okay, let's see what we get. Run up to that point again. Hi, Chase. Okay, let's see where we get here. Everybody went quiet right when I'm into the good stuff. This is what I've been waiting to get to this point for, or trying to get to this point for, like really, it's been kind of like 2 weeks. Oh, I wonder if that use modal for push is getting, this must be getting implicitly set. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, don't need this breakpoint anymore. So it's funny, I see this getting hit twice, which is kind of odd. So I'll have to make note of that. So current page is our tab page. New page that's coming in is our page that we want to push onto the stack for the current selected tab's navigation page. That's what a mouthful. That's what it is. Okay, use modal for push. So this is true. This is another place that we have to fix. So let's actually go back. I'm going to step into this. See how I can drag. I don't know. Some people don't know that you can drag the cursor back in time when you're debugging in some places. It's good to know. Okay, let's see where we are now. So it defaults to true, which is kind of interesting. So it's checking to see use modal navigation default. Well, that's null, so has value is going to be false. If current page is navigation page. So that's not, so we have to add a condition here. Has navigation page parent. This might be where we want to do it. Default navigation with Prism is not modal. It's not. It's, you can see right here. If you already have a navigation page, it's not going to use modal. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to see what's in this. I think this actually might be where we want to make our change. Has navigation page parent, because that's really what we're doing. We have a tabbed page, or our current page. Let's take a quick look at this tab page mock. So current page, just going to expand this up. Yeah, collect that data. Just do it a lot faster. Okay, so this is our tab page mock. So our tab page, yeah, has a current page. And if this current page is a navigation page, okay, I'm going to put it in here because it's not parent. It's really here. It's, or, I don't necessarily like that formatting, but whatever. Current page is tab page. Tab page. God, I love pattern matching. It's so good. And tab page dot current page is navigation page. So there we go. That covers our scenario. So if our current page is a navigation page, or our current page is a tab page, and the tab page current page is a navigation page, then we don't use modal navigation. And I need another bracket, and that is that. I think we're in good shape there. Okay, let's try this again. Let's go. Moment of truth, I think, unless there's another obstacle, which there's a good chance there is. Very good chance there is. Okay, so here we are. We're back in our method. Do push. So now when we get down to use modal for push, I made this too small. It's going to be false. Yes. Okay, first piece done. Good. Next, insert before last. We know this is going to be false, so it's going to hit the else branch. So else, and here we go. Okay, so current page is a tab page. We know that. We're gonna hit this. This is gonna do the thing, the exact thing we want. Oh, it's happening. I'm just gonna let this run till the end of the, this is the next time through. So this is actually putting the, so first it adds the page, our secondary page, to the navigation page within the tab page. And then it adds the tab page to the navigation stack of the actual root page. Cool. Let's watch this happen. This is modal because it's loading the tab page modally. We have a green unit test. We just turned our red unit test green. Yes. Victory. Okay. We did what we intended to do. It's working. Job's done. Ship it. I need to have the Clippy ship it. Here, let's figure that out right now. Just give me a second. If people haven't seen this before, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it so much. I'm doing it right too. Just bear with me for a quick second here. I want to be unveiling this as a bit of a surprise. Come on. It's coming. It's coming. It's always risky mucking around with my Streamlabs setup. Yeah, exactly, Glenn. Ship it. All right. Yeah, we'll keep that going. Party. All right. So we're in pretty good shape. I'm gonna have to build more unit tests. That's basically what it comes down to. So for next stream, more unit tests. Probably some functional testing too. Well, let's break this up. Manual, functional testing, and UI tests. Cool. So I think that's it for now. I will be back on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll be writing some more tests against this. Writing some UI tests. And then I think what I want to do with this is start building an app around this, because why not? Build a small app. Just something that leverages deep links heavily, and that'll be fun. Just to dog food it, right? Thanks for joining, everybody. Really appreciate it. Again, if you haven't reached out to me about the JetBrains license, please do. I have some to give away. and hope to see you on Tuesday. Thanks. Cheers, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Cheers. So good. I wonder, so hold on. I've never done this before. Is anybody else streaming right now that we know of? Probably be good to do a little raid. Yeah? I've never done this, so bear with me. I don't exactly know what I'm doing. Oh. Is anyone else? Frank is streaming. Let's raid Frank. Let's see.
The ultimate upgrade to your Fortnite loadout just dropped.
Oh. How do we do this? This is my complete noob status as a streamer showing right here. Oh boy. I'm Googling how to raid. Don't jump off yet. Let's raid them. It'll be more fun that way. Okay, so
Obviously freaking out right now.
okay, here we go. I think I got it. Sweet.